Welcome to the Grange Podcast, where we strive to rekindle the spirit of community and belonging. Our mission is simple, yet profound, to foster transparent communication and share valuable information that brings us closer together. Join us as we explore stories, insights, and conversations with the intent of building a stronger, more connected community, one episode at a time. Today, my guest is Kody Hart. Kody is a husband, father, business owner, and longtime friend of mine. During our conversation, we talk about Kody's recent trip to the Frank Church Wilderness, where he spent 9 days on horseback hunting elk. We also reminisce on some childhood memories growing up together, as well as just diving off the rails on a couple random different things. Really enjoyed having Kody on. Always have fun with Kody. We've been friends for over 30 years, and we'd been talking about this for a while, so it was fun to get it done. We do use some foul language throughout the podcast, so if that offends anyone, listener beware, or if there's a younger audience, it's not too out of line, but there's a couple F-bombs that get dropped, so just figured I would give you a heads up on that. Another update, anyone interested in purchasing Columbia Navigation merch, I do have a website now set up with Tiana Wild at wickedwilddesigns.com. You can click on the shop button, and there's some really cool t-shirts and hoodies and different stuff for both men and women with the Columbia Navigation logo. We're also finalizing a similar store on her website for the Grange Podcast. So look forward to having that drop soon. But if you guys are interested in representing Columbia Navigation or the Grange, check out wickedwilddesigns.com, and Tiana will get you hooked up. If you find value in our conversation, please help spread the word by sharing this podcast with a friend. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button to be notified when a new episode is released. Anyone interested in coming on the podcast can reach out to thegrangepodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in. Now, here's my conversation with Kody Hart. All right, we're live.
Right on.
We're back at the Grange Podcast. It's been a month since I've been here. Work's been crazy busy, and it's been hard to schedule people. But I'm sitting here with Kody Hart today, one of my longtime friends.
It's before school.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're going on 30 plus years.
Yeah.
So Kody and I've talked about coming in and spitballing for quite a while, and he was able to make it happen. So Kody, welcome to the Grange.
It's awesome to be here, man.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, what do you want to dive into? What do you want to talk about?
Whatever.
Yeah?
It's your show.
What's your first memory of me?
Probably, we weren't good friends then, but remember when I lived in the trailer park behind the cemetery?
Mm-hmm.
And your grandma, she didn't live in the park, but she was like the gatekeeper to the park. She lived right across from the trailer park.
On Ivy, right?
I think that was the street. Yeah, and we're just like, real little kids, but like playing on big wheels or whatever. And JT
right Brozek was the first one, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's probably the earliest. And then I remember like going over to your mom's all the time, playing basketball there because she had a basketball hoop.
Yep.
But yeah, stuff like that.
So JT was the first trailer, and then were you guys the next one?
No, there's like some people without kids in between us, then us. And then if you went deeper in the park, that's when it got scary.
Yeah.
That was like the older kids that would beat you up.
Yep.
And take your big wheel.
Yeah. I remember I didn't cross the street very often.
Smart. Yeah. I lived across the street.
Did you ever, I don't remember doing this with you, but did you ever remember sleigh riding in the cemetery? There was that little hill kind of back against the fence line.
No.
I used to do it with my brother, and I remember thinking it was like a decent hill, and I went to a funeral there last summer, and it's literally like a molehill. But as a kid, doing the same thing, I was driving behind Trips Edition last week, and they're building a new house by Price's place in Devil's Dip.
Dude, I wouldn't go down Devil's Dip now. It was terrifying.
Yeah. Well, I remember Devil's Dip being like freaking Mount St. Helens, and I cruised by there the other day looking at that place. It was so small.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so disappointing. I've got so many memories of kids like biting through their tongues on saucer sleds going down Devil's Dip.
I thought I saw Cody Maudsley like paralyzed there once.
On a saucer?
Yep.
Yeah.
There was that jump at the bottom.
Yes. I remember that exact time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There was I don't think my first like 3 or 4 visits to Devil's Dip, I even went down.
No,
I was way
you
too
stand at
scared.
the top and watch the big kids.
And then finally, like the peer pressure
Yeah.
fit in. And then, yeah.
I can remember being there, and Tanner Bircher brought a snowboard, like just like one that you'd get like at the
Like you step into it or whatever.
Yeah,
Doesn't
you didn't
even
have to have any
binding.
special boots.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, "Who is this guy?" And he went down, and I was like, "I'm so scared of him." Even though he's my friend.
Those are good days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun stuff. So what we're probably in that time period when you're living across from my grandma, 5, 6 years old?
Yeah,
Maybe?
we moved across the river right above Barney's Junction, I think when I was 7.
Okay.
So like 96.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you and I would have been in 1st and 2nd grade together. Shout
Yeah.
out Mrs. Vining.
Multi-age.
Yep.
But is that still a thing where they put
I don't
1st
know.
and 2nd graders in the same class?
I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
Because
yeah, Mrs. Vining.
1st, 2nd. Who were the 2nd graders? Was Bercher in that?
Tanner was in it, and he's like the only one I remember.
I think Tiffany Walker was.
Wyatt Myers, because he put a piece of chalk up his nose and didn't tell the teacher and got home and had to take him to the emergency room.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I didn't either. Mrs. Vining told me about it years later.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I wonder, how old was Mrs. Vining then? She'd have been
know.
fairly fresh out of college.
She probably graduated high school in like 87 or 88.
Yeah.
So she would have got out of college in like, 92, 93.
I remember kind of thinking that like we had preferential treatment because our parents were friends with her. Like we were the cool kids.
Not the case.
Yeah.
Way worse.
Not at all. You flipped a lot of cards.
Yeah. And your parents knew that you got in trouble before you even got home.
Yeah. Yeah. Not good. Do you remember being in the reading group we read Sarah Plain and Tall? You, me, and Shelby and Kylie?
No.
You don't remember
but
that
at the
book?
time, I was so in love with Kylie Walker in 1st grade that I probably wouldn't even remember the book anyway.
You may have not even been in the group. You just came out.
Probably.
That's awesome. Yeah. One of my other favorite childhood elementary school memories hanging with you was definitely the never-ending game of one-on-one, which was probably 3rd or 4th grade.
4th grade.
We played every day at lunch for a year.
For a whole school year.
And
every day.
It got up to like 300 or 400 points, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and you edged me out like the last week of school.
I don't remember who won.
You won.
Really?
I'm still vengeful. If we had more time, I'd challenge you again. I remember you beat me. Yeah, it was like 340 to 315 or something.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I remember playing, though. It was in the covered area, right?
Yeah. Behind the elementary school, they were towards the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. And we only played on the one side, too.
Yeah, it was
I
like
remember.
our court. Get out of here. This is serious business.
That's awesome. And then, was it about that same time period that you shot that first big buck? Was that 4th grade?
No. I started hunting in 4th grade. I shot a forked horn. Maybe I started hunting in 3rd. And then I shot a forked horn the next year, so that would have been 4th grade. 5th grade. First year in middle school, I shot that big buck.
The big buck.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me that story again. It's been a minute.
Man. I was like knee-high to a grasshopper. My old 30-30 was like as big as me back then.
Was it lever action?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have a scope on it?
I had to, because the first year I hunted, dude, I missed every whitetail in Stevens County and a bunch of mule deer in Ferry County with open sights.
Yeah.
And that year for Christmas, I got like 5 scopes.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I killed a buck the next year, forked horn. And it was opening day, and we hiked around, and we seen some smaller bucks, and Ronnie always told it like, oh, he passed him up. I couldn't get a shot at him because I was so little. I couldn't hold the gun up offhand. And then we like hiked up through these rock cliffs, and Ronnie's like, there's a big buck, there's a big buck. And so we laid down, and like I threw my backpack out and laid on it, and he had a grunt tube, and he's just, meh, meh. And he's like, are you on him? Are you on him? Are you on him? And I'm just all over the board like, no. I don't even see a deer out there. It was like 85 yards.
Yeah.
Finally, I'm like, holy cow, that's a big buck. So I, little kid, torch one off right in the neck. But he goes down, and, he's like, we think he's like pretty much dead. So we go up there, and Ronnie's like, oh my God. And like, we get all close, and this deer's like, kicking its legs. And he's like, you got to shoot him again because, put him down.
Yeah.
And I am shaking even worse than the deer at this point.
Man.
And I was like, you shoot him. And he's like, no, it's your buck. I'm not going to shoot your buck for you. And I'm shaking so bad. And then, dude, the deer stood up like nothing was wrong and ran away at full speed.
No shit.
Dude, and we're like, what just happened? We went and rounded up the posse. It was my grandpa Harold, Manette, Kelly White, Rod Vining, me, and the old man. And, dude, we tracked him for like 7 hours. Like blue tick hounds on our hands and knees looking up for specks of blood. We tracked him all the way to the state highway, and he was going to run across it and into the river, and I shot him in the butt and put him down. Because it was that, or dude, he was going to run into the Hudson Bay Trailer Park.
No way.
We shot him way up there towards the Nancy Creek, the radio translator. Yep. He ran all the way down there, where Tribal Trails is now.
Yeah. We
gutted him right behind there, because that's where he was at, and he was going to go into the trailer park, so I shot him again. Yeah. Gutted him like at dark, and I shot him within the first hour of daylight.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but he's big. I think he's a 5x4 with double eye guards and like 22 inches wide.
Yeah, I remember thinking that you were freaking going to get a hunting show or something.
At the time, I was just waiting for the offers to come in the mail.
Yeah, I remember that was a big deal.
And it was quite the dry spell after that.
What was, how long were you dried up for?
Well, I don't remember because where we lived, they're right above Barney's Junction and Tribal Trails. I could start hunting like 50 yards from the house. I just had to walk across the highway. So I was probably 12 or 11, and Ronnie started letting me hunt by myself. I'd just leave from there. And I saw a ton of deer, but all at a dead run. And then usually later in the season, he'd be like, well, you want me to take you out? And then we'd get some opportunities. But
nice.
I probably went 2 or 3 years before I shot another one.
So was the big one or that first forked horn? Like, did you get the itch? Like, did you know that hunting would be a big part of your life early on, or was it that not till later?
Probably the big one, because it was more of an actual hunt. Like the smaller one, we went out and built a blind, me and Ronnie, or maybe Ronnie and my mom. Maybe I was at like football practice. And then opening morning, we parked a couple 100 yards away and hiked, and I just sat in this blind. I really didn't do much besides some deer walked by and I shot one.
Yeah.
The next one, that's when, we were hiking. We were probably a mile from the truck when we shot him, and it was an all-day experience. And when you're little, the camaraderie of all the guys there looking for that buck.
Yep.
And so that was kind of like when I was like, I really like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, when you reflect back on your childhood, like those pivotal moments, of those that I guess they just stay with you forever. You're saying like, I think I'm going to do this for a while. I think it's probably snowmobiling for me. I can remember sledding at an early age, and it was the same thing. The adventure and the camaraderie was huge for me. What do you remember about the solo trips when Ronnie Boy sent you off? Was there like the sense of like independentness and like you're out in the world on your own, or were you terrified, or what was your first solo trips like?
I wasn't that terrified because so often when it wasn't deer season, I would just go wander around up there with a 22 and just harass local wildlife, squirrels and birds and stuff.
Yeah.
So everywhere up there, I'd been before. So I was never really even worried. I probably should have been, but I was like, whatever, I walk here all the time. In hindsight, I was such a terrible hunter. Like Ronnie would teach me so much, and out the other ear. No idea which way the wind was blowing. Just like, well, it looks cool over there. Let's go over there. And just deer running freaking, it was back when there was a ton of deer.
Yeah.
Deer just running everywhere. But it's weird. I probably should have felt a little more, I was a little kid just wandering around with a deer rifle, but I don't ever remember like thinking I was doing something big because it was so normal. I did it all the time.
Yeah.
It's just now it happened to be deer season.
Seems like we've gotten away from that a little bit, maybe as parents. You and I are both parents now, but like, I remember 11, 12, 13 years old, like, I think back on this quite a bit, but we used to have wave runners, and we'd go up to Northport, my dad and brother and I, and we'd launch at Northport, and then we'd actually cruise up into Canada.
Back when it was easy to get right through.
Yeah, and you could, at Juanita, where the dam is there were some crazy rapids that would come in from the Ponderay. And, I mean, you've been on the upper river, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
fast water up there.
Oh,
You'll
yeah.
be 12 years old on a 750 Polaris jet ski up there cruising around. Like, I think about it with my girls now, and I try to do a lot of that same stuff because I think that was really instrumental in both my brother and I later in life, just confidence, being
Yeah.
independent, taking risk. But I don't know. I know that there's still a handful of kids here, but there's not as many, it seems like, that at 12 years old, maybe even have their hunter safety card, let
Yeah.
alone, are being trusted to go walk out in the woods, with a firearm.
Yeah. It seems almost like alien, like a 12-year-old, because I got Darcy, my wife's nephew. I think he's 12. I'm like, I wouldn't give that kid a BB gun in the backfield.
Yeah.
But in reality, he's probably more responsible than I was then.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe it's like, it doesn't seem that long ago, but maybe it was kind of just a different time, or, our parents did that, so they just had us do it. And I don't know. I don't know why it would have changed in just 20 years, but it seems weird now.
I wonder if technology has anything to do with it, like with the algorithm, like are people more locked in at a younger age to their screens? And,
Yeah.
I remember there was, a group of our friends, right? Bircher and Walker and McKern, like there was a bunch of guys that were just like, I would say avid outdoorsmen from the time they were 13 on, always in the mountains, whether it was shed hunting, fowl hunting, fishing,
Yeah.
like just doing stuff. And I see that still, and maybe it's just that we're disconnected. Like we don't know as many high school kids.
That's probably a lot of it too. I'm sure there's someone who's going to listen to this, be like, I've been hunting by myself since I was 11.
For sure. Yeah. There's probably that disconnect, but, it was something when Joe McBride was on. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast or after, but he always had a load of firewood and a chainsaw on the back of something. I drive by the high school twice a day, and I've yet to see a cord of firewood in the back of a pickup.
Dude, it's because some of them got such nice pickups. I wouldn't go cut firewood in them.
Yeah,
I
for
drive
sure.
by like Colville High School every day. And I'm like, I'm 36 years old. And I'm like, man, I wish I had them trucks.
They're just getting financed at 16. That's funny. But yeah, so anyways, back to the hunting thing. So like transitioning into that, you and I were talking a couple days ago, and you just got back from a pretty big hunt. And so I thought it'd be worthwhile, like we kind of touched on, your first exposure to hunting and whatever, but now you just got back from a 9-day trip that you were strictly on horseback. You did 9 days in what wilderness was it?
The Frank Church River of No Return in central Idaho. It's the biggest wilderness in the lower 48.
I thought when you texted me that you just added the no return, but is that what it's called?
No, it's because the middle fork of the Salmon River, is like so swift that in the old days when they were rafting, there was no way to make it back up. So once you went down, there was no return.
So let's talk about that. First, why that area and how did this hunt come to fruition?
So I went there in 2019 with Cody Melby. And the only reason we went there, so back then, Western hunting like has blown up and it's hard to get tags now.
Is that since COVID?
Yeah. Back then, we picked up our tags in Lewiston on the way there. Like it was no problem. The only reason we went there is because it sounded cool and remote, and we're like, yeah, sweet. We didn't realize it's like the scariest place on earth.
Yeah.
But so we went in there. That's I could write a book about it. It was such a disaster of horse wrecks and freak snowstorms, and me and Melby about fist fighting each other, trying to set up a wall tent in the dark in a blizzard. It was horrible.
Wow.
I swore I'd never do it again. I'd never take horses hunting again. So my buddy Sam Parker, who owns Parker's Glass by the Chevy used car dealership, he's got a team roping arena up by Northport. I was up there roping last summer, and we got done roping, and he's like, man, I've always wanted to do a horseback hunt. And I was like, I've done that. And I was like, well, I'll do it sometime. I brushed it off. A month later, he calls me. He's like, hey, I'm looking at these 2 rifles. And I was like, what for? He's like, our horseback hunt. I was like, oh, I guess we're doing it. Then it was just planning, and that was the only place I'd been. We want to do backcountry elk. Washington, you can get a long ways from roads in wilderness areas if you go over towards the Cascades, but there's not very many elk in there. It's all mule deer. And he's never shot an elk, and I was like, dude, we'll go back to this place in Idaho. And so then it was just 10 months of planning and prep.
Wow. Were you successful when you went with Melby?
We ain't even hunting there. It was a matter of, dude, I'm not joking. It was a matter of survival. we got out into the truck and would hunt from the truck because it went so bad in there.
Did it go bad because you guys had never done it before, or was it a combination of all the stars aligned?
It was mostly lack of prep with horses.
Okay.
When I didn't make very much money at the time, and to make money to fund the trip, I rode other people's horses all summer, training horses for people. Mine got put on the back burner basically till a week before we left. Training a horse to, just walk down a trail with packs seems pretty simple. It's not. It requires a lot of just time and doing it. Dude, I had a horse roll down the mountain with our wall tent on it, just stuck on its back. Me and Milby were bailing off through a rock slide, cutting stuff off him. It took both of us to stand him up. Dude, it gives me anxiety thinking about it. It was so bad.
And did you just not think that it would be that big a deal?
No.
Yeah.
I'd read online the trails in there are no joke. And I was like, well, spent my whole life up Sherman. How bad can it be? Sherman is the bunny hill, and this place is the quadruple black diamond. And it hasn't changed. It's still bad, but we were a little more prepared. But so yeah, that's the reason we went there. And yeah, and it was just getting stuff together. Neither of us I had some pack stuff. Sam had some, but luckily there's a lot of old guys around here who used to pack a lot, and they don't anymore. So we picked up a lot of stuff, good gear for cheap. And I told Sam, I was like, I want to go in light. I don't want to do the whole big, beautiful wall tent because it's too much stuff. You need too many horses. You're stuck in one spot. So I started backpack hunting 6 years ago, where I'll just load my backpack with 6 days of stuff and I'll be gone. So I already had all the lightweight stuff, and I told him kind of go accordingly. Don't spend a fortune, which is easy to do.
Yeah.
But we want to be light and fast and able to move.
How many horses? So you got 2 guys going in. How many horses total?
4.
So you got one that you're riding, and then you got a pack horse.
Yep.
Okay. And going into it this time, did you work or train your horses any differently than you did on the first trip?
A tremendous amount.
And did that pay off?
Big time. We had 0 wrecks or rodeos. We did have, because you got to get your horses in really good shape too. It's just like you or me. If you got off the couch and went and did a marathon, if you made it, you wouldn't be able to do anything for 3 days.
Yeah.
So we had to have them in shape. We did have one horse tie up the first night we were in there. And if you're not familiar with horses, tying up is basically a cramp from their armpits to their rear legs. It's a full abdominal and back cramp from being too dehydrated and overworked. It can lead to colic, which is a twisted gut, which can kill them. So luckily we brought stuff. You give them Banamine. I'm not even sure what's in Banamine, but it's an oral dose and it helps release everything. And then we just set up in the dark watching her for 2 hours and everything ended up being fine. But
wow,
all our horses were in pretty good shape and well trained. The hardest thing to train them is to them packs are pretty wide. When they bounce off a tree or a rock, they can't freak out. They got to learn to go around them. And if they touch them, they got to just kind of it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's a lot of moving pieces there. I just lost my train of thought for a minute. Sorry.
You're all right.
But what are you guys hunting with? Was it rifle?
It's rifle.
Okay.
And that's another reason we went there. It's one of the few units in all the West where you can over the counter tag, no special draw. You can hunt elk in September, which is when they're rutting, late September, early October, but you can hunt them with a rifle. The reason for that is that wilderness was world-renowned elk hunting. I've seen pictures of the trailheads in the early 90s. You couldn't fit a bicycle in there. There's so many trucks and trailers. 1995, United States Fish and Wildlife Service decides to release wolves back on the landscape outside of Yellowstone Park. That's the first place they released them. Now, granted, in Idaho, if you see a wolf year-round, if you have a license or a tag, you can shoot it. The tags are $20. They're encouraging people to shoot every wolf they see. Because that's wilderness, the only access is foot or horse or fly into a remote airstrip. So basically, all winter, no one is managing wolves. And even in the summer and fall, it's just people who bump into one and shoot them. So there's no one in there trapping them or really thinning the numbers. And the elk numbers are really low, which is why they'll let you hunt them in September with a rifle. It's about your only chance of killing one.
Did you guys run into any wolf activity?
Old sign.
Yeah.
Nothing fresh.
I remember what I was going to ask. Are you able to do decent research before you get out there as far as staging points? Because obviously your horse needs a lot of water.
different kind of food stuff. So like, are you mapping that out before you go in, like where you hope to stay, or where the spots for water and feed and stuff are?
Yeah. A lot of that is online, Onyx. I was really worried about it. So if you mess with Onyx much, a lot of the stuff around here, it'll show a crick. You go there in September, there isn't even a mud spot. Well, it's really weird down there because you're literally in the heart of the Rocky Mountains. Like, you'll ride in, this steep, narrow, rocky drainage, sagebrush, and everything's burned because they don't fight the fires in there. And you're like, this place is a desert. Once you start climbing up and you get on the tops, like, every drainage will just have water boiling up out of the earth at 8,000 feet. It's nuts, and huge meadows. So I had a bunch of those marked, and I was like legitimately worried that they're going to be dry. They were awesome. We had a horse gain weight in there.
Oh, wow.
We did over 70 miles, and he gained weight because there's so much green grass, sub-irrigated, basically, high protein.
Wow. Did you guys move camp every night?
No. Original ride in was 25. Well, it was supposed to be 22 miles. It ended up being like 26. Camped at the bottom of this awesome basin, looked great. And we stayed there 3 nights and basically hunted everything we could around there. We started off hunting off foot. Then we got to where we're getting on horses, riding, 5 miles in the morning, and then hunting off foot. And basically, once we'd hunted that area out, I was like, on to the next one, which is where we encountered our first difficulties. That's downside of e-scouting. It shows all the trails. There isn't anything about when the last time someone was through there.
Yeah.
We went through, it was in a burn because everything's burned in there. To go 8 miles on horses should take 2.5 hours. It took us 7 because there was so much blowdown. I brought this little handsaw, which is fine to cut one once in a while. Dude, when you get to a spot where there's 50 trees across the trail and it looks like pickup sticks, it takes a long time to pick 4 horses through there without, if they're jumping over stuff, they're going to hurt themselves or cut themselves. And that was our first challenge, I would say, like real.
Wow. Did you guys have any major hookups, or was it just a time?
It was just time, and it's harder on the horses, and they start getting frustrated because they don't like it either, just like you or me picking through it.
Yeah.
And they start going too fast because they want to get through it, and that's when you're like, you stupid animal, you're going to hurt yourself really bad a long ways from anything. That's when I started the ride in. There's some sketchy spots, where you got like maybe a 30-foot drop off right next to the trail, but I was so gung-ho. And our plan was to not come back that way. We're going to do a big loop. And that first trail that wasn't cut out and there wasn't a single horse track or even any old horse manure, was like, that's when I started getting some anxiety of the unknown. Because, we're 30 miles from the truck. If something goes wrong, all you've got is the SOS button. And all that's going to come is a helicopter. Your horses and your buddy's still there. We weren't in any life or death situations there, like nothing too bad. It was just like, well, what's ahead of us now? Because, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm completely unrelated, but just to touch on like deadfall and blowdown, it's the most frustrating thing.
Dude.
And I see it, I do a lot of single track dirt bike riding, and I actually have a saw mount for the front of my dirt bike so I can run a chainsaw. But dude, in the spring or late fall, if there's a windstorm, and it's like, and it's a workout, right? I mean, it's one thing to cut it, but then you're clearing it and you're back on. I mean, I remember my hips have cramped just from like throwing my leg over my bike 150 times in 1 mile, know, and
it's the same thing with a horse.
And it's so frustrating. And I think the mental fuck in it is that you're not making any ground. You're just like, I've been here for 4 hours.
That's like the same thing we went through. And then we'd end up in spots like, oh, if we just go off the trail, 30 yards over here, we can just go around this mess. Well, then, there's a mess you didn't see, and you end up 100 yards off the trail, and you're like, I'm just trying to get back to the trail.
Did you ever get lost off the trail?
Only once, and it was a spot because this trail hadn't been used in so long, we couldn't even see where it was. And we basically just rode in the direction we knew it was supposed to be and eventually found it again.
Wow.
But, yeah. So we did that 8-mile ride and got set up at this other meadow because we didn't see any elk in that first spot. Well, we didn't see any elk the whole trip. But
you didn't see a elk?
We didn't see a elk.
What'd you see for wildlife?
I seen a frickin' booner mule deer.
Really?
But it don't open till October 1st, and we're in there in September.
Oh, man.
And we seen a bunch of other does and stuff. Sam shot like 5 grouse with his pistol.
Yeah.
Sorry. But anyway, so we get to that other spot, hunt there for a couple days, and I think it was midday. We went back to camp to have some lunch and kind of regather. There's 2 people walking down this trail, and I'm like, well, they don't have rifles. Maybe they're just backpackers. Well, they end up being Forest Service trail cutters. Well, due to hiring freezes, thanks, Elon, they had done like hardly any trail maintenance that year. So all the trail maintenance was basically from outfitters who'd been hunting in there. And so I got to talk to them. I talked to them for like an hour. And then I was like, hey, I'm going to take this trail. You know, we're just slowly hunting our way back to the truck. And the one dude looks at me. He's like, you ain't going to make it. Like, what do you mean? He's like, you can't even get through there on foot. There's so much blowdown. You'll never make it with horses. And I was like, dude, it was actually a relief. Because just the fear of the unknown. I mean, it's not even a fear. It's just like a creep in the back of your head. Like, oh, we got to do this in 2 days. And I have no idea what's out there.
Yeah.
But so he lined us up on a different route, which ended up being way longer. We were, from where we sat, we were 3 full days ride to get out. And I think we had 4 days left. So
you're literally just riding for 3 days?
yeah, we had 1 more day to hunt.
Whoa.
But I think in that, we were in there 9 days in the wilderness away from the trailer. I think we hunted 5 and rode 4.
That's
And
a lot of riding.
a lot of that was due to unforeseen circumstances. If all the trails that I'd originally selected had been open, we would have had 3 days riding basically. But, you know,
Yeah.
blow down, or it turns out that trail like doesn't exist anymore because no one's used it for 20 years, but it's still on Onyx because at one time it was a Forest Service trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. That's and when you're doing a full day of riding, is it kind of a sun up to sundown thing?
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to leave in the dark, but try to leave within the first hour of daylight. There's a few days we got to where we're going earlier than expected, you know, had some time in the evening, but you're also tired because like the days we hunted, it's not like we're lounging around. I mean, we put like a lot of boot miles on.
Yeah.
And, you know, hiking up spots to glass, and then like, okay, well, we didn't see anything. Like, okay, let's go down in that canyon and bugle. And so, yeah, it was, I don't sleep great in the backcountry. I don't think it's a matter of just not sleeping good. I just can never get comfortable. Even with my AirPad, and, you know, I bought all the stuff that they're like, this is the best of the best. And I lay there, I'm like, okay, well, this shoulder hurts. Now this hip hurts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that's difficult when you do anything and you're kind of sleep deprived.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. So you talked earlier about getting your horses in shape to do everything that you just described. What'd you do to get yourself in shape?
Due to my job, which shouldn't be an excuse, but, you know, I work 12 to 14 hour days, and then I got family. I basically got in tremendous shape this spring and tried to just maintain.
Gotcha.
I could have went to the gym, I guess, at midnight or after I got off work, but then I would never see my kids. So I just did hikes behind my house. I got a pretty good hill, throw 50 pounds in, do, you know, 30 push-ups at the bottom, hike to the top, 30 push-ups, and do that.
Yep.
Or step ups on a cooler in my shop with a weighted pack.
Just get it where you could.
Anywhere I could. Even if it was just 20 minutes, just something.
For sure.
And Sam actually, he's never worked out a day in his life, but I told him, I was like, dude, it's gnarly. Like, you're not going to have fun if you're not in shape. And cowboys aren't real known for you know, doing a lot of working out. Dude, he lives like probably a half mile above the river up north of Marble. He's got a logging road. He was hiking it every day with a backpack. Dude, he went so hard. He would hike down 6 a.m, strip down, dive in the Columbia, swim for 5 minutes, put his clothes back on, and hike back up.
Nice.
Like, dude, good for you. Like, I wish I could do that. That's an awesome way to start the day.
For sure. That's cool. So did it pay off? I mean, did you feel like you were in good enough shape?
It did, yeah. There was no days where, there's some days we really cover some miles, and I never felt the next day like, oh, I'm smoked. I got to just lay around camp all day. Like, a little sore, but it makes such a difference.
How long has it been? Because you've kind of been, I'm going to say, pretty consistent. Has it been 5 years with like taking the working out aspect pretty serious?
Yeah, ever since I started backpack hunting, which I think that was 2020.
Did you ever do it out of shape?
Oh yeah, it's 1 year, dude. I was like, it was like 2014 or something. So what I would have been, 26 or something.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about backpack hunting. I had heard about it, but I didn't know like you needed like a nice pack and stuff. I took this glorified day pack, and me and Brad Fredrickson went and did it. Well, you took Cam up there and he got lost.
I remember that. Yep.
But Brad, who is a career wildland firefighter, and I'd been sitting in a log truck all summer, and I was like, 25, I can keep up. Misery.
Yeah.
I would see him in the distance, like in the dust. And yeah, it's horrible when you're, you don't have to be a premier athlete to hunt, but if you want to hunt the mountains, obviously it's way easier if you're in decent shape.
And is that a good trade-off for you, where if you're in good shape and you're actually hunting the mountains, you're not seeing as many people? Is that true?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you're further out there, and when you get up to where you want to be, you're not huffing and a puffing, and there's a lot of guys, strictly through sheer will and born with athleticism. They can do it for a day or two. Come day 4 or 5, that's when they're, oh, my hamstrings, or oh, my back, or
yeah. You can only go so far before it catches up.
Exactly. And it's kind of my motivation to keep in decent shape all year. Is like,
that's what I was going to ask next. If like that was maybe kind of the motivating factor to have a baseline foundation for being in good shape.
Yeah. And it's gotten to where I enjoy working out, even if I'm not in the gym all the time, just doing something because I just feel better.
Yeah.
But originally it was, it'd be February and I'd be in there on the stair climber at the gym at 2 a.m. with a 50-pound vest on, like, October's coming. I'm not going to be late.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's cool, though. Do you run into, when you do your backpack deer hunting here, do you run into many other people in the high country?
I never have up close, but I'll see people in the distance. It's hard to backpack hunt in our area because there's so many roads and trails. It's really, you actually got to work to get away.
Yeah.
But there are spots you can do it. It's certainly possible. But I don't run into that many people. You'll see people that, maybe they got up early and hiked their way in the dark, but I don't know very many people who are out there, staying.
Yeah. Going back to your horse hunt here last week, how'd your rations play out? Like, did you bring enough of what you needed?
Oh, I nerd out on that hard, man.
Yeah.
So every day I did it at home. I had my kids help me because they enjoy it. And I go to the store with an idea what I want, and I'm counting calories the whole time on the back of boxes. And I'm also mindful of what everything weighs. You want at least 100 calories per ounce. So really nutrient dense foods. Sometimes you can't do it, but if you're making I make a lot of roll ups with tortillas. A tortilla doesn't have the calories per ounce, but when you factor in the mayonnaise, the cheese, and the meat, you're getting it. But yeah, I nerd out hard on it. I made sure I had 3,500 calories every day, and everything is divided in 1 gallon Ziploc bags to where when I take off in the morning, I grab one of those and I'm good to go till dinner.
Perfect.
And dinner, I'm eating freeze-dried, like Peak Refuel. They're delicious.
What is that? I haven't heard of that.
Peak Refuel is a brand that makes freeze-dried dinners.
Okay.
All you do is you add, like a cup to a cup and a half of boiling water, Ziploc it, and in 10 minutes, you got hot food.
What's your favorite one?
Biscuits and gravy is tough to beat.
Dude, my brother, when I did some work with him a couple winters ago, and I forget what the brand, it might be the same brand, but he had biscuits and gravy out there, and it was deadly. Little Tabasco.
Yeah.
And it was...
I bring pepper packets, and I add olive oil to them just to get more calories, and they help keep things moving.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, they're freaking good. They used to be terrible. There used to be like one brand that made them called Mountain House, and you could get by on them, but after like day 4, you're like, I gotta eat this dry old spaghetti. But now they're freaking good.
Well, when I worked with my brother, he had some military issued ones, and dude, it was the full meal deal. He had breakfast, lunch. They had a dessert cookie. Like they actually came in these huge, freeze dried or whatever packages. But obviously they hated them because they'd been eating them all winter.
Right.
But I was there for a week. I'm like, I don't know what you guys are complaining about. Like it's not that bad, but
yeah,
I'm sure after a while it gets old.
No, they're good, and I've had trouble with if you eat the breakfast and lunch and dinner ones. 1, it's really expensive to do that, but 2, at least me, I start to get backed up, and then you're really uncomfortable all day hiking.
Yeah,
so I just eat them for dinner, but yeah, like I'll eat some RX bars, oatmeal for breakfast because you can cook it right in the packet. Just dump hot water and eat it out of the packet.
Using a jet boil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else. Freeze-dried fruit, just for a nice break and get some crunch. I can't even remember I like take wheat thins and smoked oysters. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
But
then,
you were able to, like, you planned out good enough?
Yeah.
You guys ration-wise had everything you needed?
yeah, but I even brought some food home. Like, there's some days where we just didn't work that hard. Like, you might go hike, but then you just sit on a knob glassing for half the day, so you don't burn that many calories and you're not that hungry. But I had to remind Sam a few times, like, you got to eat.
Yeah.
It's really easy to get out there hiking all day and not eat because you maybe don't have an appetite because you haven't stopped. That's when your mental clarity goes to hell because you have no fuel in your body. You got to eat, or then it'll happen after like a day and a half. You'll just feel like an absolute bag of crap mentally, physically. So you got to like make yourself eat. I only had to remind him once or twice, but
I've seen that when I was guiding snowmobiles, and just in a day, you're talking multiple days. But, we'd get out there and trying to cover a bunch of ground, 60 miles in a day, and guys aren't drinking water.
oh yeah,
And then it's getting dusk, and we're way far from the truck, and it's deep, and people have been stuck a dozen times all day. And I've seen that scared straight look in a grown man where he's like, we're 60 miles from the truck, and he's been dehydrated. He's like got this
and I
white,
feel awful.
yeah, and he looks like he's not well, and same thing. It's like, dude, you got to start drinking. And at that point, it's almost too late. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's interesting when you're out there and you're like mission focused. Essentially, you forget that your body's burning so many calories,
right.
and to your point, that you start to lose your common sense when you're not fueled.
Yeah, electrolytes help me with that. Normally, I drink a ton of water during the day. I'll drink a gallon almost every day. But out there, I might have to refill my water bottle with the straw, and I just don't want to do it because I have to stop and take my backpack off, so I won't drink as much as I should. So electrolytes, just the packets, LMT or whatever.
Is that what you use?
Yeah, make a
Okay.
big difference on helping you retain your water, and it's just a nice break, from. I love water, but when it's all you've got, any sort of fruit flavor helps.
Are you drinking from the ground out there? Like, are
Yeah.
you purifying it or boiling it or anything?
I use what's called a steri pen. There's a million different ways to purify your water, but all mine is it's maybe 5 inches long, and it's a UV light, and you push the button, you stir it in an Nalgene, and it basically just blinks a UV light. And I have drank some gross water with that thing,
Really?
and never got sick.
Huh.
I drank some water over in the Salmo Priest Wilderness over there on the other side of Medellin one time. I was over there in the summer looking around, and I couldn't find any water. It's like a rainforest over there, but you get up high, there's no water. And I dropped down like 1,500 feet, and there's a pond. You ever seen one in late summer when a pond turns red?
Yeah, it's gross.
That's all I had.
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't make it back to the Jeep. I was like 9 miles in and out of water. I took my t-shirt off and used it as a filter just to get some of the fuzzies out. And then I used that steri pen, and I even double dosed it. I did it twice in there, and it tasted horrible. I never got sick.
Really?
Yeah.
How long does it take
And
stirring it
takes
around?
90 seconds to do a liter.
Wow.
So I'll usually bring a 4-liter bag, and I'll, do 1 liter at a time and fill that whole thing up and then hang it up or bring it with me to refill my water bottle.
Are you bringing any like solar chargers with you, like in battery packs to keep electronics going?
Bring 1 battery pack and then some spare batteries. Battery packs for my phone and my headlamp, and then there's spare batteries for the steri pen. And my headlamps will run off rechargeables or AAAs.
Yeah.
So
Did you have cell phone service at all?
not a drop. The nearest town with service is like 70 miles as a crow flies.
You're in.
With a bunch of, it's just in reach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just, message Darcy once or twice every night. We're doing good.
Did you keep your tracking on?
No, because it burns phone
The battery.
I even
Yeah.
turned my watch to low power mode where it's not even paired to your phone anymore.
Oh, so
just
you're
save
using
battery.
the mini inReach?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, the Mini 2.
What was it like being 9 days without cell phone service?
Freaking awesome.
Like, could you feel
Dude.
a difference?
Yeah, and the worst part was when I got home and it got into service, and it was just buzz, buzz, buzz from being gone 9 days. And then reality comes in, like I got to start checking work emails, and yeah, it wasn't. I tried to stay off at the drive home, talking to Sam while I
Yeah.
was driving. But then I think it was Monday, people are calling me. I was on my phone all day, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
But dude, it was awesome. 9 days. I'd send Darcy 3 or 4 texts like, we're doing good, and that was it. Turn it back off.
There's something to be said for that.
Yeah, dude. If I didn't use my phone so much for work and for hunting, I could flip phone it.
Yeah.
But
Same.
how many times has someone dropped you a pin and said, meet me here, just on Google Maps or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so easy. And all your podcasts are on there. It's unfortunate how much I rely on it.
And I feel like you and I are fairly cognizant of like, I work pretty hard to not be a bitch to my phone. Like I don't have social media.
Yeah.
I don't do any doom scrolling, but I still feel like I'm a bitch to my phone.
Oh, dude.
And it's so, I hate where like, even when I get home, I walk around my house and it has to be in my hand. Like if I'm wearing shorts without pockets, it's like, oh, I get up to get a water and I'll grab my phone off the couch and then go put it on the kitchen table.
Why do we do that?
In case it rings or I get a text message because I feel like
if I don't reply in 1 minute.
Yep.
Dude, I do the same thing. And then sometimes I'll think about it. I'm like, this is freaking dumb. And I'll, throw it on the bed or something and go outside with the kids. And the first 10 minutes is like, I don't have it. I'll reach in my pocket. I know it's not there. And I'm like, it's on the bed. It's not a big deal. But after like 10 or 20 minutes, it's so nice.
Yeah.
And then you go back in and you grab it. And it's like my brain immediately scrambles again.
Yep. I think the best thing that I've done in the last couple of years is use that little moon button, the do not disturb.
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing that when I get home from work because I just get too like spun out.
Yeah.
And then with the moon thing, you can have it so people can call through. So I've like Shad and the girls can call me or the guys from work or whatever. But all the other bullshit, if you will, just gets silenced. And
I've seen that when I'll send someone a text and then it'll come up and it'll be like, so-and-so has their phone on do not disturb.
Yep.
Would you like to send through anyways?
You shouldn't be able to do that.
I know, but I'm always like, what a dude. I'm not going to ruin his night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this can wait.
And the guy that does hit send anyways, it's too bad there's not a feature where you just get punched through the phone.
It shocks you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's bittersweet because we're living in such a fascinating time. Like, I often wonder how I would get through a workday without my phone. And a lot of it is because I'm not very like mechanically inclined. YouTube is my best friend in finding things. And, a lot of my equipment's old. So parts or this or that, and it's whatever. But then to your point, like I would love to have a CB in my truck and that's how we communicated with each other,
Yeah, I hear you. But I use it so much for stuff that's just, I wonder like, obviously, they did it for years. Like, I'll be going to Idaho with a load of logs, and I'll be like, oh, crap, my Idaho registration is up. In 15 seconds, while driving, I have the phone number to the outfit in Boise, and my credit card is stored on my phone, and I'm either emailing them real quick, or I'm just on the phone with the lady. And then if I get stopped, it's in my inbox, my registration.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that, or like, like you said, finding parts. I can Google the part and it shows me 5 stores within 100 miles who have it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that part's convenient. It's the rest I could go without.
Well, you're doing 3 or 4 jobs at once.
Yeah.
Where probably back in the day, you'd have to call whoever the transport broker is or the office secretary lady. Be like, look up this, blah, 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 blah. And now you're doing 3 people's job in the cab of your pickup.
Yeah.
Log truck. It's interesting. Do you feel like during the week, your normal work week, family, business, whatever, like, how you can open tabs on your phone? Like I always have 60 to 100 tabs opened on my phone.
On your internet browser?
Yeah. Do you feel that way like during the week in your head, like your brain, like you got too many tabs open?
Absolutely. Like overwhelmed.
Do you feel like do those get cleared when you're out doing the wilderness trip?
Definitely do.
Because you're just focusing on what's in front of you?
Yeah. All I thought about the whole time is we're hunting. I got to take care of these horses. And then in my spare time, I just think about my wife and kids.
Cool stuff.
I never thought about that freaking log truck or, all the rake in the yard or all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And then when I got home, like all I could wait to see was them and get the horses put away and stuff. And it's such a mental reset.
Yeah.
There's no distractions. I've been guilty of during mule deer season, there's phone service around here on top of every mountain. There might not be until you get to the top. But I've spent a day where I should have been glassing hard and I'm looking at my freaking phone.
Yeah.
And it'll be 1 in the afternoon. I'll be like, what am I doing? I can look at this stupid thing every day. I can hunt mule deer in Washington for 10 days.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel terrible about yourself.
Isn't it crazy though that's how powerful it is? And it's really
you're not looking at anything good.
No, but when you think of it from a neurological point, you're getting these dopamine hits, which is the algorithm, and metaphorically speaking, it's just like sitting at a casino and pulling the damn handle until it frickin' goes off and you won money. And our phone is doing that, but times 100 because your algorithm's cha-ching every single time.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, to your point, like you busted your ass, you got to the top of a mountain, you intentionally bought a deer hunting tag and all of your gear, you took time off of work, and now you're hours spent on a screen in the backcountry.
Yeah,
Like,
I could have done it on my couch.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
scary.
It was like, I turned it off. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need Onyx the rest of the day. It's going in the pack in like the 5th zipper, so I have to consciously get this thing out.
For sure. Yeah. What do you think that looks like with, are you keeping tabs on the AI, like, advancement?
Not really. Just what I hear on like Rogan and Tucker.
Yeah.
But like that 50 cent thing you sent me the other day, that's pretty amazing. Some guy probably made that in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I understand how it works. I just don't understand, obviously, profit, why people are so intent on making it, I guess. Like, the only upside is like, oh, it can do the job of a week that it would take a paralegal in 20 minutes. I'm like, well, sweet. You saved $80,000 a year because you laid off your paralegal and like accountants and stuff. But
Yeah.
obviously, there's profit in it, so people are going to make it. But
I don't have a great, like, understanding of history, but I think it's fascinating that we're living through basically like what our great grandparents would have lived through with electricity. So like we're the last generation to be alive pre-internet and post-internet.
yeah,
And so like imagine living the first 35 years of your life with no power in the late 1800s. And you're going out and getting water by hand and it's wood stove only. And when it's dark unless you got a candle. That was normal life. And then all of a sudden the Industrial Revolution happens and you have power. Like New York City's getting built up instead of out. And all of these things, the railroad, like I've read and heard some things, and like I said, I'm no buff, but that like so many people were terrified of, like, one, it was going to take people's jobs, like now you don't need a mule and a cart to turn up the field anymore. But two, like the unknown, of what is electricity going to bring?
yeah.
And probably pretty valid. It brought the internet, and that's kind of a crazy thing,
I'm still waiting for that whole internet fad to blow over, but
yeah, yeah.
but I think like humans are obviously pretty adaptable. You think about it, like, so power, the train. When they built trains, people were worried that a human being would explode if they traveled over 35 miles an hour. Well, then, cars, and then obviously more and more. I think we're going through the same thing-ish. It's just been happening faster.
Yeah.
The internet, when did the internet really get into a lot of people's homes? The mid-90s?
You'd have to ask Al Gore.
Right, yeah. He invented it. But maybe the mid-90s, do you think?
Yeah.
Because we got it later, but obviously we're in Kettle Falls.
Yeah, I'm going to say I remember like probably 97, 98.
Yeah.
We had, it's my dad's, like, one of his favorite stories to tell on Tanner, who's being mentioned in this podcast a lot, but his grandma Marcella lived up the street from us. And so he was down hanging out, and that was the days where your computer was in the family room, like in the living room, and everyone used it or whatever. And Dad had an AOL account, and he logged in, and it literally said, "You've got mail." Tanner said, "I'll get it, Eric." And he jumped up and ran out to the mailbox. Came back. He's like, "There's no mail out there." He was just signing into AOL. But yeah, to your point, like probably 97, 98, something like that.
So I think if you like looked at them, there's obviously stuff being invented all the time, but from power, trains, cars, everything, that was spread out more. It seems to be happening faster. If you just look at internet, smartphones, AI, 30 years, all which are huge changes to almost every human in civilized culture, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how long it was before the horse got replaced by the tractor. Was it over or under 30 years?
I know the Ford, like 9Ns, they got real popular in the 30s. But they were a small tractor, but that was when it was like, holy cow, this thing has 30 horsepower.
And when are we using power in the United States? When is it readily available? Is that
no idea?
Late 1800s?
Probably, I don't know.
Jamie, look that up. We're not there yet.
Come on, JMO.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be I wonder if it would be plus or minus 30 years.
I don't know. I guess yeah, maybe, it doesn't seem like a big deal to us, like, oh, just a tractor. But to them,
Can you
holy
imagine?
cow, it only takes one guy 1 day to plow up the field, not a guy and 4 horses 3 days or
And
whatever.
you feed it 10 gallons of liquid.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep it alive all year.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the one perspective is it's here, so it doesn't like do too much to get too spun out about it. I think there's value in understanding and being educated. I think I wish I was more smart or maybe more disciplined to read about how to make money on AI, because I think it's going to be even more so profound than like the internet, the .com bust.
Yeah.
That there's going to be, if you and I had a globe that we could see who's the AI chip for quantum computing in 15 years from now, Microsoft 35 years ago. But yeah, it's really wild too, just to see technology with our parents. Like our parents have iPhones and iPads. And
Yeah, they don't even call me anymore. They text me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, Ronnie's 64 and he'll just like text me and there's like usually an emoji in there. Like this. I mean, it's usually a middle finger, but
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I hope that regardless though, like the thing that we've been fortunate is living here, like what you just did last week, like I hope that's always on the table for us,
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people, that feel the same way. There's such a big crowd, probably not that many people we know that are just into backpacking. They just go out for the weekend.
Yeah.
Those are usually the people with the loudest voices because most of them are from the city and they know how to get shit done.
For sure.
And we just sit around like,
they took our jobs.
Yeah, they took our jobs. They took our wilderness. But yeah, so there's, just any stuff like that or getting outside. There's so much to do. And I feel like there's communities for whatever you want to do, groups. And that's one thing the internet has made easier. It's easier to get into hobbies like that because you can read about it.
Yeah.
It also makes it sound a lot more glorious than it is. I've read a lot of stories, they watch Meat Eater and I'm going to be this big old hunter. And they go out and they're like, it's cold out here and there's no one else here and I haven't seen a deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, that's true for watching in these shows on YouTube or listening to it on the podcast, and everyone gets into it. But that's the cool thing about it is like, the trailhead is the filter, right? Like that's same with jiu-jitsu. Like the filter's the door. And if you got enough balls to walk through the door, like awesome.
Yeah.
Like we'll see you on the mat, but most people won't walk through the door.
Right.
Because it's hard, right?
Oh yeah. It's intimidating.
Yeah. And so I think that there will always be space to be able to do things that are on the other side of hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And we didn't even know we were doing something that hard. It was all fun. Even the blowdown deal, it sucked and it gave me some anxiety. Dude, I got to tell you about our last day. So we had, what was it? 3 days of riding at the end. So went pretty good. The first leg went like 10 miles. Ended up at an airstrip and a ranger station. But there's a big creek, lots of water, no people there. But stayed there, kind of looked around, didn't see anything. So then we got 30 miles left of the trailhead. Dude, that next leg was phenomenal. We can go around one log. He flew, just gradual incline. Shoot, we were at our next camp by like 1:30 in the afternoon. I was like, should we push through the last 15? And luckily, Sam, he's pretty level-headed, and he's like, dude, we shouldn't push it. It's going to get dark. We don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
That last day, we had 15 miles to go. We rode 200 yards out of camp, and it started dropping down. Pretty steep and pretty rocky, so like pretty technical for the horses. It's hard on their legs because it's just like us walking downhill. But we're making it through it pretty good. And I start noticing ahead of us, the canyon is getting steeper and narrower. I'm like, that's usually not a great sign. So the only way I can describe this is think of the steepest mountain you've ever been on. I don't even know if there's anything that steep around here. And go halfway up it, maybe 100 to 500 feet, and then cut a trail across it 18 inches wide. To where if you're riding a horse, your uphill hand, you can touch the bank right here. You look over the toe of your boot, and you've got 100 to a 500 foot nearly vertical drop. You might scrape some sticks on the way down. 7 miles, we did that. It sucked so bad. I'm not even that scared of heights. Like, I have a respect for heights, but I'll run up a ladder or whatever. And I'll look off stuff, but it was horrible because there is nothing you can do about it. It is 100% up to that horse. If he stumbles or takes a bite of grass, you probably don't have time to jump off.
Can they feel your anxiety?
Yeah. They can feel a fly land on their back. So when you clench them butt cheeks because you're scared, they know it.
What kind of mental space did you have to be in to do that for 7 miles?
I don't know about Sam, but I had to tell myself to breathe
Yeah.
because I could feel myself just short, rapid breaths.
So would you start doing like a breathing mantra?
I never did anything like that, but I would quit. I'd look off the edge and get worried, and I'd feel my back tighten up, and I'd be like, I'm not breathing. You gotta breathe. Gotta breathe. Which is something I've learned through roping. If you're roping for money and it gets down to the end and you ride your horse in the box and you feel yourself that tight, you feel your horse tighten up and everything's going to go bad.
Yeah.
Because they can feel it on you. Everything's tight on their back. So I kept having to remind myself. Luckily, I was riding a 15-year-old horse who's pretty calm through everything. But they still have a brain. And they don't know it's a 500-foot drop to their death. All they know is they really don't want to go down there because then they have to walk back up onto the trail and it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Dude, and so we did that. And like my pack horse, the rope that I'm leading her by, I'm holding with 2 fingers. Like, you go, I ain't going with you. I love you and all, but good luck. So we're riding along like this, and I'm serious. You'll go a mile up there like that, and then it'll drop down into the creek, and you'll get 100 yards of like nice riding, and then back up. And you guys, the reason they do this is because when the creek runs in the spring, it would take the trail out. So you got to get up above it. Them central Idahoans are nuts, though. It was terrifying. We're riding along. We come around a corner, and a freaking bear jumps off the trail onto a tree below us and shimmies up it and is at eye level with us.
Holy.
And the whole time I thought, here we fucking go. Rodeo time. This is going to be a complete wreck.
Did your horses see it?
I think they were so tired because they had to have heard it. I mean, it's scratching and there's bark crawling. It's climbing like 30 feet from us. I think they were so tired. They were like, get me to the goddamn trailer.
Kill me.
Yeah. But yeah, it was 7 miles like that. And we finally hit this bridge that meant we had 3 miles of decent trail back. And like, we started singing. Dude, I don't even know how to describe it because there's nothing you can do. It's all on an animal. And I brought him in there. It's my choice. I just didn't know how bad this trail was.
How do you build beforehand that much trust with the horse?
A lot of time. I mean,
because like I'm good buddies with a lot of people, but a lot of them I wouldn't trust as far as I could throw them.
No.
And those are human beings that like.
And that's a hard thing. I mean, you really have to have a lot of trust in that horse. I feel really confident on any horse I get on. I ride probably 150 days a year, and I rode colts for a long time for people. And horse is going to buck. I'm not too worried about it. I can usually get a horse to do what I want, and I can stay on. But in there, it doesn't matter what you do. It's all them. So I think it's just time.
But do you guys got to be tight? You and the horse?
You got to be buddies. That horse I rode in there, for 2 months, every other day, I'd ride 6 miles behind my house.
Wow.
So we got to be pretty good. And I trusted him. I'd take him on whatever I could find, cow trails, up and down stuff. But still, it was nothing like that. But even then, if you don't trust him, what are you going to do? You can walk in front of him and lead him, but then your pack horse is basically just,
being led by the blind.
And when they don't have, a lot of times if they're kind of green, if they don't have someone kind of leaning back, you can even yell at them like, knock it off, knucklehead, and they'll kind of shape up. Well, they're knowing up there, they're probably going to do something dumb, and there goes your horse and all your stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
It was, I don't know how to describe it. I feel like, when I tell that people the story, they're like, oh yeah, I've been on a steep trail before. I'm like, no, you haven't.
Yeah.
I've been on every trail in Ferry County damn near. And none of them have I looked off the edge and been like vertigo. It's like some of them are like, well, that's pretty steep. But.
Yeah. I don't know if I've been on anything that gnarly, but I've done a handful of rides in Idaho, single track on my dirt bike that are, as you described, that are just like, it's no man's land and you're riding an 18-inch trail and it's first gear. And for me, I just can't look down. I look at where I'm going, but it's that uneasy feeling of.
Well, it's similar country. Like because I'll tell anyone where we want to go so they don't go there, or where we went so they don't go there. It sucks so bad. But, we went south of McCall 30 miles and then east into the Rockies.
Yeah.
So if you're anywhere riding down there around McCall, it's similar country.
For sure.
Steep and rocky.
Definitely. Yeah. We did some rides in Wallace that were similar to that. And then, out of Sandpoint, which not as gnarly as what you're talking about, but I've snowmobiled that whole McCall area, that whole surrounding area, and it's Yeah, that's the real deal for sure. But there's something definitely empowering, right? Where it's man, animal, and nature. And
Yeah.
like I guess you're kind of in control of your own destiny.
Yeah.
Like,
And like we got done. So Sam, I took with me, we hadn't really been riding together besides, some roping, but not in the mountains until 2 weeks before we went. I was like, we should probably do a training ride together. I know we've both been training on our own. So we went up towards Abercrombie and, it's kind of steep.
yeah.
And he looked off one of the edges. He's like, I do not like that. And I was like, what? And he's like, I am really afraid of heights. I was like, so I just didn't say anything. I was like, well, it's kind of steep in there, but you'll probably be all right. But we got done and we got back to the trailer and like, dude, just a solid hug of like, can you believe we frickin' did that?
Yeah.
Like, I'll never do it again, but can you believe we did that? It's like, kind of a sense of accomplishment, even though I didn't want to.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point where it's like, what are you going to do? You literally have no option. You're going to abandon some horses in there? Well, I know I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't abandon the neighbor's dog in there.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to do this. This is my only option. And I can either, limp through it or try my hardest to get through it.
It's a tough thing. I don't know if you struggle with it, but I've struggled with it since having a family and getting older. That dichotomy, the balance between risk taking and living your life, and I've had similar experiences on a snowmobile. The cool thing about backcountry sledding is we're never on a trail. So you are trailblazing all day long. I mean, you ride 10 miles in, but then we're covering 30 to 40 miles off trail. So the amount of ground that we cover is huge. And you get into these spots where you're like, if we break down or if someone gets hurt, like we're fucked big time. And I've had a couple trips where like we've come back at midnight, 1 a.m. We've got lost, turned around, someone broke down, got stuck. And it's like, you have that uneasy feeling. Knock on wood, I've been fortunate to not stay the night. I'd like to think that I packed to be able to do that, but I wouldn't sit here and tell you until I've actually done it that I'm
Right.
dialed. I have stayed overnight with intent, and I packed a lot more than I normally would.
Yeah.
So I have done 2 or 3 nights in the winter staying out with my sled, but I also packed 20 pounds more gear than I typically do on a day ride. But there's that, just like you described for me, there's that uneasy feeling of, am I going to get out of here?
Yeah.
And then there's that feeling when I get back to the truck and I feel like I can walk on water.
Yeah.
I'm like, and it's one of the most addicting, like rewarding, coolest things. But then as I've gotten older and have a family and people depend on me more, it's like, I don't know, it almost gets shadowed with guilt where like when I get back to the truck, I'm like, I'm the man. And then driving home, I'm like, I'm an idiot.
Dude.
What was I doing?
Exact same thing. So the night before we left, Sam's family came to my house and had dinner, and Sam stayed at my house so we could leave earlier. And as his wife left, she gave me a hug and said, bring my husband home.
Yeah.
Which, it's like a nice joke. Like, whatever, bring my husband home. Well, I'm the guy to this operation. Sam's never been there. He's never done anything like this. We got to that first, on the ride in, there's some sketchy stuff, but I was gung-ho, we're going elk hunting. On the ride out, that first spot, all I thought was, I am leading 2 fathers of 5 kids and 2 wives at home. What the fuck are we doing in here? This is so stupid. For an elk that we didn't even see?
Yeah.
Like, there's way easier ways to kill elk than to do this. And I was like, it seems like an unnecessary risk. But that's when it was also like, well, what the fuck else am I going to do?
When was the most you felt that alive, though?
I don't know. I didn't feel alive about it for an hour after we got back.
But that hit, though, is like,
yeah.
It's huge, right?
It was like legit. Like, that was like, if a horse had went over, you would not live.
Yeah.
Not a snowball's chance in hell. Neither of you would. I don't know. The last time, I only ever had one other spot where I was like, I might actually die right here. I think I told you about it years ago. I was hiking in the dark and it was snowy and icy and I got stuck in some rocks and I couldn't go down and I threw my rifle up on top of the ledge and I had my bare hands out and I was hooking my head on rocks and I was shaking because I was so like mentally or physically exhausted.
Yeah.
I made it through it, but that's the only other time I've really felt like that. Like, because if I fell, I would have died. It was like a 100-foot rock drop. But I went there on accident in the dark by headlamp. Like, I can always get through it. I don't know, though. I mean, you do feel alive, but I don't like it.
Yeah. So, do you think, would you do that trip again?
Not on that trail.
No, not a chance?
No,
Yeah.
it was, dude, it was, you know, maybe I'm a big puss, whatever. I don't care. But, it was not fun at all that last 7 miles through there. It sucked every step.
How'd Sam do?
About worse than me.
Yeah. Well, and then like there's this dynamic too where if you're the guy in the front, like you're kind of a motherfucker too. Like if I'm following you, I've done that sledding before where I go and sled a new zone and the guy's like, you know, this is my backyard. And then we're in freaking butthole nowhere. And I'm like, dude, you got us into this.
Yeah.
And
That's how I felt.
And then it depletes my capital where I'm like, I don't think you can get us out of it. And it's like, and then you have to remember that you're on the same team, but there's this dynamic of, and I've done it too, where I brought people in and then I'm like, oh, you know, whiteout happens or whatever. I'm like, I'm not exactly sure what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then you can just feel that you've lost that capital with the people you're with. And that can be heavy.
Yeah. I will say that about Sam. He was awesome through everything. The ride in, you know, after his horse tied up, he doesn't like pushing his horses as hard as I do. He brought in some high dollar roping horses because that was all he had. But he never got mad. I could tell he was frustrated. But every day we weren't seeing elk, and his spirits were never down. He never blamed anything on me, and I was apologizing for everything. And even the ride out, I was like, we got to one of them little stretches in the creek bottom where it wasn't bad, and we stopped, and I was like, dude, I looked him in the eyes like, I am really sorry for making you do this, but we don't have a choice. It's that or ride 60 miles back around.
Wow.
And he's like, I know, we're gonna get through it. There's nothing we can do about it. You know, we didn't obviously choose that.
Yeah.
Choose this. So I can't say enough good things about how good he was about it. Because it would have been really easy for him to turn on me and just been like, you stupid motherfucker, you brought me down here and now I'm going to die.
Yeah.
You know, not that we actually, I keep saying that like, oh, I'm going to die, but it was very possible.
I get it. Like, yeah. I mean, you're not
there
out there
was
like,
never, you know,
saying you're putting your life on the line for an elk, but
there was
like,
never an actual,
it was high consequence.
Yeah, it would have, if it would, it was one misstep. But he stayed great about it, and I kept expecting, like, we get back to the, you know, once we get inside of that trailer, he's going to turn around and just unload on me.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to have to take it. But he never did. He was really good about it.
Yeah. Well, good on you guys, man. That's quite the journey to go through.
Yeah, it was. I told him before we went, I said, when we get done with this, we'll either never talk again or we'll be really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't even that good of friends before we went. You know, we're buddies.
Yeah.
But mostly just through roping.
For sure.
We didn't really hang out outside of that. I've only known him a few years. And after that, I'm like, dude, I would do anything for that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely apples to oranges comparison, but it gives you a basic understanding of like people that have served overseas, like how they form a bond. You know, when your survival depends on the guy next to you, like I think that forms a bond that's pretty hard to mimic in our everyday life.
Right.
You know, because there's nothing that you and I really do that we have to depend on anyone else.
Yeah, if someone lets you down on something, you're like, oh, that jackass.
Yeah.
It's not usually a big deal in our day-to-day life.
Well, and if anything, it's like I mostly depend on the UPS driver. If Doug doesn't show up, I'm like, oh, I guess we don't have groceries for next week or whatever. But yeah, no, that's a crazy dynamic for sure to put yourselves in and get through that. What was one of your biggest takeaways driving home?
I don't know. I mean, it's something I've thought a lot in probably the last 5 or 6 years ago, that people are so much more capable than what they think they are.
Yeah.
I don't think Sam, before we started, if you'd showed him that, like if you had a drone and flew it along that trail or someone rode it with a GoPro, if you told him you're going to be doing that in 2 weeks, I don't think he would have been like, no, I'll probably crumble because he does not like heights. But he rode right through it, and I don't know how to put it into words, but just like when you have no choice but to do something, I keep like defending this. I don't want to make it out like it was bigger than it was, but it was freaking hard and mentally hard. When you have no choice, like it's a good feeling when you did it, you know, like that empowered, like, I can't believe I did that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to put it into words, but it is empowering after you finally get relaxed. Like, not that I would do it again, that exact same thing, but it's like, boy, my back was at the wall and I did it.
Well, there's some kind of a value, I think, that you get to own it too. Like you don't get to wonder.
Yeah.
Like you don't get to drive in your log truck the next year and be like, I wonder what it'd been like to do that. Like good and bad. you get to own that experience.
Right.
Like,
And it is a confidence builder. You know,
Yeah.
even in other aspects of life, you do something like that. It's just like that cold plunge.
Yep.
You do that, everything's easy after that. Like after that, someone's like, hey, you want to go on a pack trip up Sherman? I'm like, I don't even need to pack a bag.
Yeah.
Sure, let's go.
Yeah, and there's value. I was thinking when you were talking about that, I was thinking about the cold plunge. You know, you familiar with the term microdosing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what the cold plunge is. Like every morning when I hit that, it's like my micro dose of hard. Like,
Yeah.
and it's funny, dude. I'm pretty consistent with it, like 3 to 5 days a week. I mean, a lot of weeks I'll get 5 days, but usually at a minimum I'll do 3. Yeah, and I know I can sit here and be like, it's no factor. I can do it. And then tomorrow morning at 5:30, I'm going to stand in front of that stupid thing for 30 seconds too long and look at my fingernails and look around the shop and then
Another cup of coffee.
for sure. And then finally get in. But it does, I've noticed it translates to other things, you know, if it's working on equipment or tired doing something, you're like, I can do hard things.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a muscle. If once you start to build that muscle and it creates confidence, then it does definitely translate to other areas of your life.
What did Huberman did a deal about that? There's a part of your brain that grows when you do hard things that you don't want to. He compared it, he's like, weightlifting is hard, but if you love lifting weights, it doesn't grow this part of your brain. And he brought David Goggins in, and it was like swollen in his brain from making himself do shit he didn't want to do. But it makes everything else easier.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so interesting too, because we've been, you know, we work out here in the mornings and probably, I mean, we've been doing it for the last 3 months. We've been running more. We've dropped some of the like the CrossFit type workouts and we've just been doing runs. Dude, and I haven't ran since high
I
school.
was gonna say, I know how much you love that running.
I hate it.
Yeah.
And have a shitty mindset with it and just the belief that I'm not built for running and it's not for me. But we kind of just eased our way into it. But Steve leads those workouts and Steve runs and he's a damn gazelle. I mean, dude, smokes I got 18-year-old kids working with us in good shape and he smokes them. Like it's
At 35 years old.
it's unreal. And he'll kind of play around, like let him get like what seems to be a half mile ahead of us and then just completely murder them. Like, but, yeah, dude, I like when we started, I was like, there's no way I can run a mile. And then from here to the other shop and back is a mile.
Oh, perfect.
And so like, I remember I did it the first time and I was just like, I don't even care what my time is. I'm just not going to stop. And I didn't time it, but I got to think it was slow. And then I remember, you know, Spencer's been working out with us. Same thing, not a runner at all.
Yeah, legs are like this long and he's 6'5".
Yeah. And I don't think he's ever like ran before. And the first time we ran to the shop and back, I was like, dude, just don't stop. And I ran it with him and he like did that first mile, you know. And now we've been running 1 or 2 days a week and like I'm in a kind of running shape. So we did a 1.5 miles and I did it at an 8:40 pace, which for me, I was pumped. Like I got to think I was 10 or 11 when we started. But now it's like, I don't dread it as much anymore. It's just like that little confidence boost of, we just took off the other day and I had to get my mind right with it, like that I don't hate it and that it's one step at a time because Steve won't always tell us where we're running. So the other
You
day,
don't know if it's 1 mile or 3.
yeah. And so we leave the shop and we walk down the street, the highway for a little bit, and then he tells us where we're going. And sometimes he'll make it longer than what he says. And so we hit the train tracks at Happydale and then take the old dirt road, like we used to go to Height's house.
Oh, where the bike jumps are? Or were?
So we went down that and then crossed the train tracks.
Oh, gotcha.
And then where like Tyler Edwards is building all that stuff. We cruised there. And then I thought we were going to run through Singers and back, but we ended up crossing the highway, taking that dirt road, paralleling the highway, crossing at Walker's old gas station, and then coming home.
Huh.
And
that's a jaunt.
Yeah. And I jogged the whole thing. Like it was
awesome.
Cool. You know, I don't know. I didn't time myself on that one, but, yeah. And then like the rest of the day, I'm like, okay, I can, whatever's difficult, I'm sure I can get it figured because I just ran 2.5 miles or whatever. And I didn't think a month and a half ago I could do a mile.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of fun.
You ever hear about the first guy that ran a 4-minute mile?
No.
It was obviously like 100 years ago or something. It was like, they didn't think it was possible. No human being could do it. There's one guy, he just kept trying and trying and trying. He did it. And in like the next 2 months, like 20 other people did it.
I have heard that because it was done then.
Because it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's like, it's all in here.
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure. the mental piece of that's what's crazy is like I mean, obviously there's a physical component, but so much of it's mental.
But I mean, obviously all them other guys were capable of doing it.
Yeah.
It was all in their head.
Yeah. Mine's a powerful thing.
Yeah. It's like runs everything.
What's the quote? Whether you think you can or you can't, you're probably right.
Yeah.
That one always hits.
Yeah, dude, I can remember like if you drive in the Albion Road, I'm sure you snowmobiled up there years ago before you started traveling, but all them open hillsides. I can remember grouse hunting in there when I was like in high school. Like no one can hunt up there. Those deer just, live there untouched their whole life.
Die of old age.
And now I'll run up there at like 3 a.m. in the summertime, put 50 pounds of salt on my back. Well, not anymore because they banned salt for deer, and scale to the top of one of those things, dump it out, a trail camera, back to the Jeep, and I'll get home as my family's eating breakfast.
Yeah.
Like, turns out it's not impossible, but...
Yeah, there's levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you ever think when we were 21 that we'd be sitting here talking about running
drinking water?
Yeah, working out and like doing hard things.
No, I figured we'd be doing the same thing, but like at Hayden's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like in my 20s it was path of least resistance.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived the easiest lifestyle ever until, like 5-6 years ago.
What was the switch?
75 hard.
Really?
Yeah, and I did that out of spite. My Darcy's sister, do you know Morgan Henderson?
No.
She went to Chewela, and so did Darcy's stepbrother. But Darcy's stepsister and stepbrother and like 2 of their other relatives, and then Darcy's mom did 75 hard. And they never asked me to do it, obviously, because I wouldn't have. And like halfway through it, I like learned about what it was. And then when they got done, I was like, well, I'm going to do it strictly because you didn't ask me to, because you don't think I can do it. I didn't even succeed the first time. I made like day 58. And then after that, I was like...
How'd you fail?
Failed on purpose, basically.
Yeah.
A really shitty day. Did a dumb thing, and I still had one more workout to do, and I went and sat on the couch and flipped my feet up, and
you showed it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've done it a few times since and succeeded.
So describe to anyone listening that doesn't know what it is.
Just Trav, he lives it.
Yeah. He's done it more than anyone I know.
He does it like 4 times a year for fun.
Yeah.
75 hard is 75 days. You've got to work out twice a day for 45 minutes each. They don't have to be hard workouts. One can be a walk or whatever, but one has to be outdoors. You got to pick a diet, a healthy diet, stick to it. No cheap meals, no cheap bites. You've got to drink a gallon of water a day. You've got to read 10 pages of nonfiction, preferably self-help a day, and you have to take a progress picture every day. I think that's all of them. I rely on the app so much when I do it, but
I think that's right.
It is possible.
And if you don't do any one of those things, no matter what day, then you have to recycle.
Yep,
back to day one.
Auto fail.
Yeah.
It is possible, even if you work 12 to 14 hours a day and you have a family. It is possible.
Yeah.
Like I've heard people are like, there's just not enough hours in the day. I'm like, I ain't go to work till 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, because I'd wake up early, get one of them. The second workout, I'd usually take one of the kids. We have these awesome kid carrier backpacks. When they're little, I'd throw one of them in and just go for a hike. And then the other stuff, read 10 pages. We do that right before bed. So you don't have to miss that much stuff in your day-to-day life to get it done.
Yeah.
When you get done, man, the physical transformation, because it's not a workout program, it's a mental toughness program.
For sure.
The physical is pretty good. But just when you get done, you're like, I can't believe I did all that crap for that long.
Yeah.
And like actually did it.
Did you know Lucas did it not too long ago, Fox? So he did it, and then
one of the other things is no alcohol, 75 days.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good point. So Lucas did it. It's probably been a couple months now. So he would have started, sometime after the new year. And then I saw him at my brother's wedding. Dude, I hardly recognized him. He looked like high school Lucas.
Really?
Yeah. And not that he was like crazy fat and out of shape, but I think he ended up dropping 30 pounds.
Holy moly.
Dude, like he walked into the VRBO that we're all staying at. I hadn't seen him in months. And I was like,
well, knowing him, he probably had his shirt off.
Yeah, for sure. He didn't. He was wearing a shirt, but like, yeah, it was like Pookie's back. I was like, holy moly. Him and his wife both did it, dude. And
30 pounds?
I think so. Like, I don't think I'm exaggerating that.
Well, I mean, if you've got some water weight, that's, doable, but.
Yeah. But yeah, him and his wife both walked, dude, both of them just looked great. And like, they did it the first time all the way through, held each other accountable. He was telling me like his daughter would have soccer practice or something. And so like Alicia would drive him there and he would run there from the house, and then he would drive him back and she would run back, because it's hard, right?
Yeah,
When you're
especially
working
if you're
and
both doing it. Like Trav and his wife do it all the time too.
yeah,
Like, good for you guys.
yeah, for sure. I haven't done it. But yeah, Trav's in it, and it was cool to see, like I said, Lucas and Alicia, man, they were it transformed, them at that point. It was
Yeah.
cool. And then it was fun too. Lucas and I still keep in touch pretty regularly, and now like we're BSing about books that he's read, right? Like
Yeah.
it was a whole new conversation piece too. And I think that component of it is neat. It's hard to read when you don't have to.
Yeah.
I enjoy reading and learning new things. And I try to read every day, but I don't always. And when you're on a program like that, I mean, how many books do you think you read in 2.5 months?
I don't know, because a lot of times I just keep reading. Quite a few. I remember I was like rush ordering them off Amazon because like,
Yeah.
shit, I only got 30 pages left in this one.
Yep.
That was another thing. I hadn't talked to Trav hardly at all in years, and then when I did 75 hard, we got to talking, and now we're, we don't talk every day or anything, but every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was the same way. I didn't read at all, ever. And then doing that, and now it's like, it's the best way to clear your mind before you go to bed is just 10, 15 pages.
Yeah.
From-
I feel like I get 3 pages in and my eyes feel 30
just
pounds.
winds down from the whole day. You're just focused on one thing. And
Yep, for sure. Yeah. No, that's good stuff. It's been really fun to see just, our friends and different people around here. Like, I don't want to, again, be dramatic or act like we're trailblazers, but kind of take that path of walking a different path, which is uphill.
right,
You know,
definitely,
and
dude.
kind of doing hard things. And I think we take our health maybe more serious than like our parents did in their 30s. And I'm
Yeah.
not knocking them at all. I think we have so much more information
That's, I think,
than
the
they
biggest
did.
one. Yeah,
And we have also, like, we're so close with our parents. Like, we can see some of their injuries and things that they didn't address early on,
yeah,
catching up with them.
Yeah.
And I think that the thing that we got to live through too, that they didn't, was COVID, where we all kind of got that slap in the face that our most precious asset is time.
yeah,
And so you could have all the money in the world or all the whatever you want, but if you're not healthy, like what's it for?
yeah,
And
exactly.
so I think that was a motivating factor too.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because we were young and we didn't pay attention then. But I feel like in the last 5-6 years, it's like there's so many more people who are doing something about it instead of waiting until they're old and sick to
Yeah.
do something. Like younger people.
Yep.
I see people, because I drive all day. Well, you drive a lot too. I don't feel like I've ever seen, granted, there's a million more people here than there was 5 years ago. But I don't feel like I've ever seen as many people out running, and they're not all young,
For sure.
but
Yeah.
we're just walking and stuff.
Yep.
It used to be you see a few ladies on their lunch break out for a walk around town, and now it's like any time of day, there's always someone running.
I think we overcomplicated everything for so long. Like, I remember the Slim Fast commercials and the ab shakers, and it was always this shortcut thing where like it's really basic.
Yeah,
Like,
move,
yeah, move and
eat real food.
put real food in your mouth.
I've heard people, not to knock the older generation, but I've heard people 50s or 60s, like, well, I don't run because it's bad for your knees. I'm like, yeah, if you're David fucking Goggins,
Yeah.
but if you put, 2 miles on 3 days a week, it's great for you. You're never going to wear your knees out.
You know what's also bad for your knees? Not moving.
Yeah. Sitting in your chair telling me why I shouldn't run.
Yeah, for sure. Did you hear the Secretary of Defense's speech this week? Pete Hegseth?
He's not Secretary of Defense. He's Secretary of Transportation.
No.
Secretary of Defense, I thought, is Tulsi.
Yeah, so I'm probably messing this up. Who's Pete Hegseth? He's military leader of
okay.
some sort. I'm
No, I
probably
didn't.
screwing shit up.
I didn't hear it.
It,
I thought you were talking about that gay dude, Pete Buttigieg.
Oh, Buttigieg?
Yeah.
No, not him. No. But he addressed the military leaders and essentially said, we're not having fat troops anymore. Like,
I mean,
from admirals and, leaders down, and just the basic guy, you're going to pass physical fitness tests, and we will look like we need to look. And
on one hand, I feel like awesome. I'm not a military man, but if I like to think about the people, fighting for our country, I don't want Fatty McFatty out there
Yeah.
trying to run down somebody. On the other hand, doesn't the military already have difficulty with recruiting these days?
I think it's a real big thing with
And
retention.
what percentage of America's youth are currently obese?
I don't know the number, but I think it's a lot. But I also think on the other side of that, we have the youth that is in shape are some hard hitters.
They're probably the ones who are enlisting anyways, you know.
I think it's just like everything we see is that the middle is kind of starting to shrink.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that we have, you know, probably highest obesity numbers that we've had in a while. But I bet on the other side of that too, the guys that are in shape are savages.
Yeah.
Like, you know, get after it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, and I'm not like in no way trying to fat shame anyone or anything, but it's like if you signed up for that job, right, that needs physical fitness, like you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
And at least
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a check for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, what else?
I don't know, man. It's just good to bullshit with you. Seems like we never have time to talk anymore.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one thing that I've been racking my brain around that, you know, it's kind of the theme of the Grange podcast, you know, where like back in the day, a Grange Hall was a place of gathering and it was non-denominational and it was with your neighbors and you shared a meal and we would talk about if you were raising corn and I was raising cows and, you know, we would trade, but it was a place to share information.
And were they, not to interrupt you, were they every other week gatherings or were they monthly or was it they set their own schedule?
Never researched it that deep.
Gotcha.
I'd be lying to you if I told you anything. But that's the one thing that I have felt that is kind of still missing in my life, like removing the alcohol component and the social part of that is just like, I miss hanging out with my buddies,
Yeah.
you know, and it's, and so much of that too is that we have to be busy now to put food on the table. And so is everyone. I'm not trying to sing the blues, like every generation ever, same thing. But we got kids that are in all these extracurricular activities that take time. And, you know, you put 12 hours in today and still have to go home and, you know, maybe your daughter's got a horse event tonight or, you know, I don't know, like all of these things. And it's so hard to then make time to get together, you know, and I think too, with where we are in the blue collar nature, it's hard where it's a lot of our jobs are seasonal. And when the sun's out, you make hay.
Yeah.
And that makes it difficult to then get in a routine with anything. I was telling you before we hit record that I started training jiu-jitsu again 3 months ago. And I'd originally started 2 years ago. So I took a 2-year break. I did 3 months and then dropped it for 2 years. And now I'm back in. This will be my 3rd month starting in October. And I thought, like after I got through my first month, I was like, dude, everyone here needs to be doing this. Like it's got that camaraderie thing. It's healthy. You know, you're not drinking 8 beers and driving home. Like you're getting stronger. And then individually you're building a crazy amount of strength, you know, and you eat way more humble pie than you've ever planned on eating.
Getting choked out every week.
Dude, and for me, I'm like one of the bigger guys in there, and I'm getting choked out by guys half my size, which hurts even worse. You know, like a dude in our drinking. I'm so glad I never got beat up by one of those guys when we were drinking hard. You know, like, because
step out of the bar feeling 10 feet tall and just get your ass whipped.
Because these guys that beat me up in the gym, I totally would have talked shit to in the bar. Would have been like, get out of here. And they murder me now. Like I realized I'm not tough and I'm not a fighter, like real quick, you know. But I was talking to the Matt, who's the jiu-jitsu coach in there. And, you know, I'm like, dude, I think this is going to blow up here because I think growing up here, we are accustomed to doing hard things. Like,
yeah, well, because it's cold here 7 months a year. So
there's that. A lot of people burn wood, you know, like harvesting your own food, you know, those kinds of things are more difficult than, say, a city life. And he came up here and he's just bootstrapped the gym. Like he has a second job that he does 40 to 60 hours a week on.
Is he like a programmer or something or some sort of computer
work? IT. Yeah. And so the gym like basically pays for itself, but it's not like a business model for him. And I remember I was so excited in the early days of like, I'm going to be able to get you 20 guys in here. But then it's the scheduling thing, of like being able to make time for it. And I don't know if we ever get over that, like in this rural area and that lifestyle thing of, I know I just went down like 7 different rabbit holes, but what I've been trying to figure out is like, how do I create a space where we can still get together 2 or 3 times a week, hang out, catch up, and do something positive that's on the other side of hard? And I don't know what that is, like,
Even if it's once a week, man, I feel like gets to a point where your only friends are people who have kids with the same hobbies as your kids,
yeah,
or you work with them. And like, I mean, we're kind of busy with our kids, but everyone is. I mean, look at this Johnsons. They travel 30,000 miles a year for kids' sports.
yeah.
So, I mean, everyone's busy, and I don't know what it is. I've never even been able to figure out why it seems like we're so much busier now. I remember being a kid, like, so many weekends, like, what are we doing this weekend? My
Yep.
parents being like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like Saturday afternoon, Ronnie would be like, I'm bored, let's go fishing. I never have that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because kids are busier, but
I think it's probably a handful of things, but probably it comes down to just like priorities almost, I mean, because we all show up for funerals, we show up for weddings, and we show up if there's some kind of an event to support someone that's been injured.
yeah.
Like, we all make time for that because we prioritize it. It's that important. And it's hard to prioritize those lower level things. But like, and granted, our kids have a huge age split. But when we were kids, if you would have told me that, your kids are the age that they are and mine are teenagers and they've never had dinner together, I would have laughed at you.
They've never had dinner together?
Our kids don't even know each other.
Oh, our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, my daughter, if I showed her the video of this, she'd say, who's that guy?
Yeah.
I've known him since I was 4.
Yeah. And that's like, I never thought about that growing up, that's, we always had Uncle Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone was Uncle whoever, and like, and so it's just crazy that we've gotten so far from that, that
Yeah.
like, and I'm not pointing fingers at you or me or whatever, but haven't prioritized like, hey, what are you doing Sunday?
Yeah, why aren't
Come
we having
over
a
for dinner.
barbecue or something?
Yeah. And I don't know what that is because I'm 100% guilty of it. Like,
Yeah.
It's not that I've invited a bunch of people and then got freaking cold shouldered. I haven't extended the invite.
Yeah.
And I also haven't had it extended to me.
And I'm also guilty of, we're so busy that when I do have a free weekend, I don't want to say yes or ask someone to do something. I'm like, finally, I can get some shit done around here and I can go do this that I've been wanting to do for 3 months, but we've had plans.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Or I'll just be like, I want to sit on the couch and not see anyone or
I'm
do
gonna
anything.
mow my yard.
Yeah. And then go take a nap.
Yeah.
For sure. But I do miss I hope that our kids are getting like that collective thing of, where we were raised in a tribe, essentially. We had a bunch of our dads and different things. And I know that it's age group related, some of it. But it does seem like we're more sectioned off than maybe generations past.
I don't feel like it's intentional.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I don't know why, but it's everyone I talk to it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. We're going to have to start doing some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we had a similar talk about this subject, like in your shop 3.5 years ago. And you're like, I might start a podcast.
Yeah.
Well, that was like 3.5 years ago.
Yeah, it was for sure. And I guess that's baby steps, right? Like, I mean, I thought about this for 3 years and thought about,
But even not talking about that was when you mentioned the podcast. But I can remember you saying like, we need to start like friends. We used to see each other so much, and now we never do.
yeah.
How long has Strobel lived here? From Wenatchee?
At least 5 years.
You know the last time I seen him? His wedding? Because he told me, he's like, dude, I don't even care what it is. If you're building a fence at your house, call me so we can hang out. Why haven't I? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think about it like 3 times a year. I'm like, man, I should call him. He was one of my best friends all growing up. Never do. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. Random, I did get a call randomly, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, from Quinn Anderson.
Dude, I was just thinking about him.
He came out to the house.
He was in town?
For 2 days. I never knew, so the guys that owned Ronnie D's, or the family,
Yeah.
remember he worked there.
Yeah.
And I guess so the husband and wife owned it, and then their son was Quinn's age from Colville. and he got married. So Quinn came up for that wedding.
Oh,
And he's like, hey, dude, don't hate me, but I'm in Kettle and I'm leaving in the morning. But if you're home, I'll come out. And I was like, yeah, come on out. So he came out for like an hour. And I hadn't seen Quinn in 5 or 6
does he
years.
still live in Alaska?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen him in like 15.
Really?
When I lived at the Roxbury behind Yellow Pine,
Yeah.
he rolled in out of nowhere, like middle of winter. And, Quinn, diamond necklace, diamond earrings, big old fancy watch that he probably couldn't afford, a nice sweater and some designer jeans. And we're at the frickin' Roxbury party.
Yeah.
Which the house wasn't even fit for humans to live in, and there's 50 people in there.
I'm pretty sure there was a garden hose through the window for your shower.
Only for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But,
I remember little Bobby, like, I had so much pressure. Just cut his
He
skin.
called it the Red Menace. But yeah, Quinn like booted the door open. I'm like, Quinn Anderson? And there was a bottle of some sort of, dollar wine. And he grabs it and he goes, oh, swig off that whiskey river. And just turned it upside down. I was like, well, not a lot's changed.
Yeah, dude, still same Quinn. It came out. I laughed my ass off the whole time, and seems like he's doing good.
Yeah, my wife went up to Anchorage this summer for a wedding. And I was like, oh, I got a buddy that lives up there, but I couldn't go. I had to work.
Yeah. Same. Well, and he's got his in-laws or something have a little cabin on a salmon run river. And he's like, you guys got to come up. Like, and he was showing me pictures of the salmon they catch from this little cabin thing. And it looks awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen him ages.
Yeah. I wonder whatever happened to Big Red.
Oh, that sweet Mazda. Dude,
Mhm.
I don't know if you were there.
The Crow?
Yeah.
I was there for
When
that.
me
I
and
was still
Trav
here.
put
Yeah.
the crow in there.
Yeah. Wasn't it alive still? Like,
yeah,
it was
we caught it with our
paralyzed?
bare hands. It's a real thing I learned about later. A crow, because they don't get to eat all the time, they'll gorge themselves and they can't fly. Well, we shot at it a few times. And, I didn't catch it. I can't remember who we were with. Maybe someone. But we shot at this crow a few times and it didn't fly. And someone grabbed it. Maybe James Wilkins or someone. And we brought it back to the high school and stuffed it under like the clutch pedal in Big Red, that 81 Mazda. Quinn got out of football practice. Quinn, rev that thing up. Let's see it burn out. Dude, he squealed like a girl when he jumped out of there. And there's a crow hopping around in his truck.
I remember that. Yeah. That was classic. Remember all the rock chucks we used to hang on antennas?
Dude, remember when they put it in the school bulletin? Please quit putting dead animals on people's cars. Dude, remember? Hoover was at a baseball game, and remember he had that Toyota with a sliding back window,
Yeah.
and we put one in there like it was crawling in. Like
I don't remember that.
Maybe it was just like me and Trav or someone. We slid the back window open and then slid it shut with a rock chuck, like crawling in. Dude, he didn't see it till he was like coming home. And like
on his rear view.
almost crashed on Peach Crest, which wouldn't have been the first time.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Good times back in the day.
Did you kill any chucks this year? You get to shoot them at work.
But we did pretty good on them last year, so I think I got 2 and my dad got 2 or 3.
No, didn't hurt.
Yeah, so decent. But last 2 years we put the hammer down
there at Lower Boise.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude, that was like the spring. I couldn't wait for springtime to go shoot rock chucks.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Remember we used to get them at the shop when we had all that wood decked up.
Yeah, and then that time your Bronco wouldn't start.
Yeah, because it was in drive. Like trying to jump it and everything.
Because we rolled in incognito and you didn't want to shift it when you shut it off. Because the rock chuck cares.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's funny. Huh. Cool. Well, we did it.
Yeah.
Podcast number 1. I think it'd be fun at some point to have you come back. I don't think we got time today, but I'd love to pick your brain on the log trucking side of things.
Probably want someone with a better attitude about it than me, but
yeah. I just think it's interesting. I get I'd say decent. There's a handful of people that are listening that are younger. And we're kind of seeing this transition where not a lot, again, I'm being a little dramatic, but high school kids are not just looking at college as their only option. And so I with this platform, even though it's small, I've enjoyed, talking to Joe McBride and a few others of just like, hey, there's a living out there, you know, to do different things. But I also think it's important to talk about the good and the bad and the indifferent, for sure. little Ricky Hood has worked for me the last 2 summers, and he's taking off next week. He's going to go get his CDL before he starts school. And I know Skin Dog's kid just got his. And I think it's been a while since we had 18-year-olds with CDLs.
Yeah, well, it's hard to get insured when you're under 23, but you'll always have a job.
Yeah.
And as much as I knock hauling logs because I'd rather do something different, around here it is an excellent way to provide for your family, and it is a job that you ain't got to worry about technology taking over. Maybe I just don't know about it, but they make a lot of trucks that drive on the highway all day. But then to drive on those roads, there's just so much you have to do. It would be tricky. I'm sure they could do it, but
Yeah,
it is. And there's been a lot of people around here for a long time providing for their families by
for
hauling
sure.
logs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's plan on doing that sometime, just talking the ins and outs and what the real world view of owning and then
Yeah.
driving a log truck is.
Besides the glory of driving it in the Town and Country Days parade.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there'd be some younger people that tune into this that would find that interesting,
Yeah.
because there definitely is seeing a nice shiny truck in a parade, and then there's waking up at midnight.
Oh, that's the easy part. It's laying under it at 8 p.m. when the snow's dripping off it in your eyes and you got a flashlight in your teeth and you're trying to fix something because you got to haul logs in 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The struggle's real.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's when you're like, this job sucks.
Yeah, no
But
doubt.
then you get a paycheck and it ain't so bad.
Yep. Cool. Well, thanks for stopping in, and we'll do it again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, man.
All right. Yep.